when I went into care at the age of 5, 6, because my mum suffered from mental health problems and my grandma from depression, and I never really knew my dad. My dad was never there, and my life completely was just going out of control even from a young age. Because when I got to a certain age, you know, I was still stealing at school. I was stealing from my foster parents, from anywhere I could really, you know. I was literally taking alcohol at age of 12, and magic mushrooms. I was sniffing glue. I was sniffing gas. I was sniffing petrol, anything to get out of reality. I think my first offence was breaking into a shop and then into a pub garage to drink all the alcohol. Just from being a young age, my life was totally out of control, you know. I ended up in prison at 17. I started to be put into a cell with 2 other people and started to be getting bullied, beat up in a corner. I started to commit self-harm and that after a while. And then I kind of got out of prison, and then for the next 10 years started to keep coming in and out of prison, you know, and the self-harm got worse. At one point I smashed a fish tank and stabbed the glass through my stomach, and I would literally use razor blades and literally make a mess of my arms, and I stabbed myself by a knife and all over my body. And the first time I started wanting to go to church was simply just to get out of my cell, because I was sometimes 23 hours a day. But I started reading the Gideon's Bible. And in the Gideon's Bible, there's places in the Bible where it says about anger and drugs and alcohol and different things, and it gave you page numbers. And I used to look these verses up and read them. The first real testimony of God's goodness was I was literally sat in a church, you know, and the vicar just said, it was just a church leader, Christian man, said, "Has anyone got anything wrong with them?" And that day, I'd just caught a really bad cold, and it was awful. I just knew it was going to last for about 2 weeks or more. And he said, "If you have, come out." And I literally went out, and they started praying for me. And I just experienced God's love, really, because what happened next was I felt God's presence and love fill me with warmth, and I ended up flat on my back. And I literally, I tried to get up, and they said, "Just rest in God." And the more I rested, I felt I was in a prison chapel with bars on the windows. And God just filled me with His peace and His joy and His happiness, and I felt free. Even though I was in a prison, I felt completely free, even freer than literally the prison officers themselves. And I just knew God had done something, and I wanted more, because what I experienced in that chapel was better than any drug or any sex or any earthly pleasure anything can ever give anyone on this earth. I started to attend an Alpha course by Nicky Gumbel on video, and I started listening to this and took my pad mate with me. We started learning more, and got time out of our cell again. And I started listening to what he had to say, and everything started to make sense. Finally, when I did give my life to Christ, I felt like peace came over me. And I was sat in this chair as these young men led me to Christ, these Christians. And I said a sinner's prayer, and it was short, but I felt like God was actually rocking me in his arms, and I felt comfort. I felt peace and joy. And I felt, something had changed. And then what happened then, straight away that night, the voices, what had literally terrified me over the years, had stopped. I'm so looking forward to the future now, to share my faith more and more in my community, in my neighbourhood, in Sheffield, around the world. I pray that the message of Jesus and the love of Christ gets out to people. I'm doing more and more things these days, like more and more evangelising in universities. I go into universities now and share my experiences and my faith. I go in. My plan is to go into prisons and schools and anywhere I can to share my faith. I love going into town and cities and into neighbourhoods and praying for people and serving people and going into cafes and buildings and just literally talking about my faith and just getting conversations going. And the greatest thing is to literally walk away from someone knowing that you've helped them in such a way, either serve them or pray for them, and see them have a smile on their face and at least know that you've made a difference in some way. That's all I want to do in life. I just want to help and serve the Lord in all I do.